Okay, welcome back guys. So let's begin to create this design now. I actually almost finished creating this design. I didn't know that something just happened and then the video was not saving. Almost hours of work just gone like that. So I'm just going to start creating this from the scratch. So let's set our workspace. So the size for this design is 10. It's so annoying right now. I'm doing this design for the third time. So the size of the design is 1024 by 1280. 1024 by 1280. So we set the size. I'm going to be a little bit fast in this tutorial because the work is quite long. So let me bring in the background. So this is the background I actually use, this one here. So I'll hit OK, move to relative size, increase the size. Alright, then it's not filling the workspace yet, so I'll move around. I'll stretch it from the edge. Please ensure that anytime you are sizing any resources on your workspace, always size it from the edge like this. Don't size from this side, from this part. It's going to distort the aspect ratio. Alright, so I'll just set it up like that. I'll lock it. So I want my canvas to be black, so I'll just choose white. So I'll have this. So the next thing I want to do is to import my resources. I want to bring in, now you see this import button. If I want to import several resources at the same time, I'll just tap on it. I want to import 2 resources at the same time, so I'll tap on it twice. If I want to import 3 resources at the same time, I can tap on it 3 times. It will allow me to import 3 resources at the same time instead of doing it over and over again. So I'll just tap twice, 1, 2, so I can import those pictures. So I'm using this one and this one for the design. So I'll just hit OK. I'll hit OK. I'll hit OK. So they've been exported. Now, after downloading these guys from Pinterest, I actually downloaded them from Pinterest. I had to, if you look at the pictures very well, I did a lot of editing on them to make them sharp. Sometimes the images you download from Pinterest, not sometimes, all of the times, they are not really good enough. They don't have good enough quality. Do you understand? So most time you have to edit them. So I don't know if I'm going to include image editing on this training. All right, I didn't actually plan to do that, but what actually makes a random designer, what makes a professional designer stand out from any other random roadside designer is the quality of your work. Do you understand? And if you want to have good quality of work, you must always edit your resources, especially images. Images used on your design must be edited. Do you understand? Must always be edited. That's what makes your work to stand out. So I don't know if you are seeing what I'm doing. I'm just creating shapes. So I created the first shape. Alright, I created the first shape by typing on my shape, grabbing my shape tool. So I increase it. Then if you move around like that, you will find radius. So to see it, I'll give it a red color so that I'll be able to see it. So if you the more you increase the radius, the more the edges become curved. Alright, I just want it around somewhere around 14 or 15. Then I hit OK. No, it's just stay there. So I now extend it until it fills the desired position. Do you understand? So just size it up like that. So when I was done, I created a copy. You know, I can create a copy. You see, there's copy here. All right, create a copy from there, and then I change this to white. All right. Sorry, please ignore the noise. There are a lot of distractions. I'm in a very noisy place. So I have these 2 guys set up like that. The next thing I want to do is I already imported my images, so I'll enable this. It's locked. I'll enable this, move it somewhere here, increase the size to the desired position. So I'll just keep it somewhere here. So anytime you, just like I said, don't ever resize from the edge like this. If you resize from the edge, it becomes distorted. Do you understand? So I can undo that. If you do something you don't want to do, just come here and undo. So always resize from the edge like this. Meanwhile, even when you resize from the edge, when you resize images from like that, they lose a part of their quality. You may not be able to notice it, but a part of the quality has been lost. So you create a copy. You create a copy. 1, 2, 3. I'll create like 3 or 4 times. Then I'll go back to my layer panel. With the first layer selected, I'll delete all of the unwanted ones. So I'll bring this. Now you can see that now it's because it is the first layer here, it is now on top of the shapes. I want to take it to the back. So you will find to back here. You can use to back here. Either you use to back, or if I use to back now, but this to back, you can't control it. It sends it behind the back. You see, I can't find it because it has already gone behind the background. So I can now come from this layer panel, use my hand, if I long press on it from this edge, long press from the extreme edge there, long press like that, then you can move it to the desired position. All right, so somewhere here like that. Then I'll lock it. Then I'll enable this other one, unlock it, take down the size drastically. I want to rotate it. I can rotate from, if I use that edge like that, I can tweak it like that, then it will be rotated. Then I want to place it somewhere here like that. So place it somewhere here. All right, and I did a lot of explanation in the other video that did not save. So I'll just lock it up. And then the next thing I want to do, let me bring in the original design so that it serves as a reference for me. So what am I doing? So here's the design. I'll bring it in. Hit OK. So this is the reference design. I'll just keep it somewhere so that it serves as a guide for me. I can hide it. Then the next thing I want to create is, remember, always lock your layers. All right, so if I tap on my screen, the shape tool appears. Then I'm just going to create this shape, position it like that. Then I'll increase the radius. You will find radius here, just like I did the other time. I want the edges to be curved, so I'll just increase the radius to around to my desired position. So I'll move around. You will find opacity here. Opacity controls the transparency of a shape. So I want it to be transparent. So I'll take down the opacity to around 40 or so it becomes transparent. Once I'm okay, once I am satisfied, I'll hit OK. Then I position it the way I want. Then I'll hit OK. Then the next thing I want to create, I'll create another shape. All right. Give it radius, resize it. This one is going to be a little smaller. So I want to give it a color, but not just any color. I want to give it a gradient. You find that there's color here, and there's color and there's gradient. I want gradient. A gradient is a combination of 2 colors. So I hit on gradient. This is the gradient I want to use, this one. But I already created it. All right, let me show you how to create it. Once you select your gradient, you can hit the plus button. Hit the plus button, you'll be directed to different options. There are different options for gradients here. All right, different options for gradients. The first one is this, second one is this, third one, you understand? But I want the first one. The first one gives me dark and light option. So you will find some sliders here. You find that you have one slider, you have 2 sliders here. This first, if you select this first slider, This is the dark part. I can increase it the way I want. So, but I want it here. So I'll select that part, select that slider, then I'll select this paint bucket, select the paint bucket, then it gives me the option of selecting the color I want. I can move around inside the wheel to choose any color I want, but I want red, so I put it somewhere here. Then a dark red. If I take this up, it becomes light. All right. Observe this part. It's telling me what color I'm working on. Do you understand? So I want that part to be dark. So I move it like that. I'll hit OK. Then I select the second slider, hit the paintbrush. Then I want this part to be light. So I'll leave it light. Then I'll hit OK. Then once I'm okay with it, I'll hit OK. So it gives me that gradient. Do you understand? This radius is too much. So let me take it down. The radius should just be around 10 or 12. I don't want too much of it. So I'll just size it up like that to my desired position. Once I'm okay, once it's good enough for me, I'll hit OK. All right. Now I have one problem. You realize that the edges, these edges of this rectangle, because it's transparent and it's on a white background, the edges are not showing. Do you understand? So I want to create a black stroke there so that it will be visible. So I'll select on that rectangle, select it. I'll create a copy of it. Create a copy. Let me just place it somewhere here. Then I'll come to edit. If I select edit, I'll go to opacity. I'll take the opacity all the way to 0. Then I'll move down. You will find stroke width. You find stroke width, all right? If I increase it, it becomes big, but I don't want too much of it. I just want 1. You understand? So I'll just tap this plus button just to give me 1. All right, so just 1. Then I'll move down. I'll give it a black color. I'll give it completely black color. Then I'll hit OK. So I don't know if you saw what I just did. So you realize that I've created a black stroke. All right, so I want to place it just at the edges so that it becomes visible. Do you understand? But I don't want it to be visible in all of the edges. So I'll still select it, move my slider down like that up until I find this erase. I'll find erase. So I'll select on erase. I can increase the size from here. All right, this increases the size. So then I'll just use my hand to erase the edges, the part I don't want. I'll erase up to somewhere here. Then I'll hit, once I'm satisfied, I'll hit good here. It's good. So you realize that I've created a black stroke around the edges so that it becomes visible. But I want the other part to be white. All right, so I'll just create a copy. Create a copy. Come to edit. Sorry, not edit. I'll come to erase. Move over to erase. Then I'm going to reverse what I did earlier by selecting this undo option. So I'll reverse everything I did. So then this time around, I will now have increased the size. So I'm wiping out this part now. All right, I'm wiping out this part now. So I'll hit OK. Once I'm satisfied, I'll hit OK. Then I'll change the color to white. Then I place it along the edge. Placing it, once I'm satisfied, I hit OK. If it is not well placed, you can move around. You will find, to do slight movement, you can select this position tool, select it. You can control the speed from here. If it is up, the speed, it will move fast. If it is down, it will move slow. All right, so you can use this to set it. You can zoom in if you want. This is the zoom button. All right, you select that. You can zoom in so you see what you are doing. Then meanwhile, when you select that zoom button, if you try to tap anything on the screen, you cannot type. You have to deselect the zoom button before you can now tap on your position. Then you move you move to the desired position you want. Once you are satisfied, select the zoom button again, then you use your finger to pinch out, then it zooms out. Select the zoom button again to deselect. Then I'll go to my layer panel. I want to bring this guy up. I'll select, you realize that the edges are just created now, they are on this red gradient. I don't want that. So I'll go to my layer panel, select the red, then I'll bring it to front. You will find to front here. So if I select to front, it comes up. Alright, so you realize now that it is well balanced. Now the next thing I want to do is I'll still select this guy. I'll create a copy, bring it down, fit it in like that. Then I'll move over to color, select color, enable it, then I'll change it to black. I'll hit OK. Then I'll come back to my layer panel. I want to move it to the back. So you can, like I said earlier, you can pinch the edges and then move it down like that. Because if you use to back, it will take it back. Do you understand? So if you want to make slight movement like that, it's better to just pinch the edges and move it to the desired position. I'll hit this. Then I'll move to my position. I'll select position, take down the speed. Then I can move. Actually want to create what I want is a shadow. I want it to look like a shadow under it. So I'll just move. So you want to move left, you can move left. You want to go up, you can go up. You want to go down. So you just place it like that, a little to the right and then a little down, so it looks like a shadow. Once you are satisfied, hit OK. Alright, so having done that, the next thing we want to start doing now is I want to write the name of the brand. So I'll select my text tool, grab my text tool. Alright, then I'll select plus, hit the plus button, then it gives me new text. Then I either double tap on it, on the new text, or I select edit. Anyone works. So I'll select edit. Then I'll write Empire, increase the size. I'll go to my font, select the font. The name of the font I use is Astrid. Let's allow it to load. I'll go to my recent font, I'll find it there, Astrid, so you see it, Astrid. So remember we were talking about font psychology. So you realize that I took my time to find a font that fits this perfectly. Do you understand? You can see that it's giving a vibe of empire, it's giving that vibe of beauty. Do you understand? So it fits this design perfectly. Now, the next thing I did was to come to the color tool. Then I choose gradient, the same gradient I used earlier. I just use that gradient, increase the size. I can increase the size from here. There's an option for increasing size here. I can come here, I can increase the size from here to my desired position. You understand? So I just place it somewhere here like that. Now there's something I want to do. This is where we talk about alignment. I'll select this this icon that looks like net. If I select it, I'll also select this so that the lines become editable. I'll select it, then I move this to the edge here. I want this rectangle and the empire to be perfectly aligned. Do you understand? I'll move this one to this particular edge. I want a perfect alignment. All right, so I think this looks okay for me because of the extension from that letter R. So I think this looks okay for me. So once I'm cool, I hit the net icon again, hit the other one, then it goes away. So I'm going to create a copy of this. Create a copy, edit it. All right, Lizzie Beauty. I'll hit OK. Take down the size drastically. I'll just mount it somewhere here. What I want is a center alignment. So I'll just mount it somewhere here. This looks a little off. Move it. Hit OK. Alright, so the next thing I want to write is Let me bring in the design so you can see. So we can actually see. I think I accidentally created too many copies. So let me increase the size. So what we have there is Lizzie Beauty Empire, where beauty meets elegance. So I'll just go type it. I'll grab my text tool again, edit it. So I'll write Lizzie Beauty Empire, where beauty meets elegance. I'll hit OK. Reduce the size. I'm going to go choose another font. Hit on my font icon. Then the font I'm using is Poppins. Those of you that have that got my font pack, it's part of the font I gave you. So I'm using Poppins is a font family. There are different options for Poppins. All right, the one we are using is Poppins Medium. So you find Poppins Medium, you hit OK. Then I'm moving over to this. I want to set the alignment, so I'll choose this. You move over to this option, hit it. Then you can see that, well, remember we were talking about alignment in the previous class. This is a left alignment, this is a middle alignment, and this is a right alignment. What I want is a center. Alignment. So I'll hit OK. Then I'll change the color to black. Hit OK. Then let me take down the size. So have it like that. Now the next thing I want to do is let me pick one of this shape. Then I'll create a copy of it. Then I'll bring it here. I'll hit edit. So I'm able to edit it to the desired shape. Edit it so it just fills that place like that. But the color I want is, this time I don't want gradient, I want color. So I'll select color. So this is the color I actually used. This particular color is a light pink. Let me show you. If you hit this plus, you will find that okay, let me show you something. Now you can actually pick color. Let me quickly explain this. If you find in your color wheel, there is this icon. This is called a color picker. So if I select that, I can move over. You will find I can find all of the layers on my workspace here. You'll find them. So I'll just move around until I arrive at where the design is, the reference design I'm using. You see it there. So I'll hit on it. Then I can pick any color I want. For me, if I want to pick the color from the lady's skin, I will just move there. It picks the color. It picks the color. But the color I want is actually somewhere here. But it's not really showing because I've already edited this flyer. After I did my design, I already edited this flyer using another third-party app. That's why it's looking very, very neat and bright. So that color there is not showing again. So it's actually a light pink color. So I just wanted to show you that you can actually pick any color you want. You realize that as you are moving around, the choice of color here is changing. As you move around, the choice of color is changing. So once you pick a particular color that you are satisfied with, you hit OK. You hit OK here. Then you hit OK. Then that color will be chosen for you. Do you understand? But this is the color I want. Is this particular color I want. Another way to go about it is I'll hit my plus button again. I'm directed here. You will find the color code here. The color code is FDD4D4. All right, FDD4D4. I can as well select this pen tool. If I select this pen tool, it gives me the color code here. I can just highlight it. Long press on it to be highlighted. I can create a copy. I'll copy it, hit OK. All right, hit OK. Now, you just saw what happened. My work just scattered. Sometimes it happens like that in PixelLab. Your work can get scattered like that, but don't panic. I'll just come over to these three dots here. If I hit on these three dots, you will find recover autosave. Recover autosave. So I'll just recover autosave. I'll select the very first one. Hit OK.